Hello everybody and welcome back to Lost Skies. My plan today was to go and try and fight Nurialar, which is the only existing Seraph and is the final in-game boss right now for the early access content that we have available. However, as I look back on the series that I've done so far, I spent way more time off camera than I did on camera, and frankly, you guys missed a lot of the content. Mostly just because I became super obsessed with this game, and I'm still pretty obsessed with the game. And I ended up playing a lot offline, and you guys only got to see a couple of things here and there. So, my decision at this point is, rather than leaving you guys in the lurch and not being able to see the content and see the game, for those of you who either just can't get it or don't necessarily want to get it, but you still want to see all the cool stuff, is I'm going to start over. I'm going to start an alt character. And we're going to run that character through the actual game. And because I've already been through all the puzzles and everything, ideally we should be able to get through this much quicker than it initially took me, and as it would have taken me on camera. So hopefully we can get each island done in an episode or two, maybe, depending on some of the ones that have a little bit more complicated puzzles and things like that. And just, some of them are just longer than others. So that's what we're going to go ahead and do. I just want to make sure that you guys have a nice record of everything that's happened in the game. So we're going to go ahead and start a new character. I am going to remove the face paint for this one because I'm just not a big fan of it. I think what we're going to do is that since we're in the nation of Sabor, we're going to go ahead and do a Saborian character. And then we're still going to go ahead and do the same thing we did last time. Let me remove the facial hair so we can see the face. I thought I removed the face paint. For some reason it did that. We'll do a tan-ish kind of thing, and we'll do somebody who looks closer to me. I guess I don't have that square of a jaw. Let's do this one. This one, I think we picked this one last time. I don't have that square of a jaw. I do have greener eyes than most things else, and then I know I don't look it on camera, but in reality I get pretty tan because I have some Native American heritage, so my skin can get pretty dark. Let's go. We're not doing the face paint. For the hairstyle, we're just going to pick the same hairstyle that we had for our main character. We will do a different hair color. I'll go ahead and do black, maybe. Red's more fun. Yeah, red's more fun. And then for facial hair, we'll go with probably nothing. I think we'll just go with no facial hair since they don't really have the facial hair that I'd be interested. Like I want this right here basically. Like if I could get this one without the beard, that would probably be what I went with, but fortunately they don't offer that. So for this one, I'm gonna name this guy Silver. Well, I don't know. I want to make sure I have unfortunately, the server that I have my main character on is named Silverus for some reason. I don't know why I did that, but I did. So I guess we'll just call this. Who are we gonna name? We'll name this guy Ramian. It's one of the names I use. And then we're gonna use this guy, and then we're gonna create a new world for him specifically, and we're gonna play in that. That's what we're going to do. So ideally, we should be able to get through the entire first island pretty quickly, since I know where everything is and I know where we're going to be going. This is not going to be so much of a play. It's going to be kind of a hybrid between a let's play and a walkthrough because I've been through all of this before, so we're just going to kind of rush through all of this stuff. I also don't want you guys to miss the story, so what I'll do is that whenever we get the text-based things, I will give you enough time to be able to pause the screen and read through all of the stuff, and then you can decide what you're going to do. You can follow the story that way. But I have already read all this stuff. I don't necessarily want to read it myself. So we'll do that, and I'll try to make sure I click and get to an option and then let you read it. I'll give you like a second or two so you can read it. So if you want to read all of this stuff, you just pause whenever there's a break here. Okay. So the first thing we need to do is we need to make a glider to get over to the other island. If you read the instructions, you know that. To do that, we need to go collect some twigs and some fibers. We're also going to go ahead and collect these berries here because they are great for health revival. So, just need to find... Oh, there's some twigs right there. This is a plant fiber. The thin straight up ones are all plant fibers. The ones that are spread out a little bit more, and then once you get close to them, you can see that they have berries on them. But you can tell from far away what they are by the shape of the plant. The ones that look like they're just sticking straight up out of the ground. And we're going to go ahead and eat this mushroom because it does give us better endurance revival. So how much? We have 11 plant fibers. I'd like to grab a couple more. I think it's 3 plant fibers per makeshift cloth. I don't know. Let's grab that stick. That might be enough to make the glider. So let's run inside. We need to convert the plant fibers into makeshift cloths. So boom, boom, boom. And then the makeshift glider requires 1. Oh, it only requires 1. Okay. Makeshift glider, we'll go ahead and do that. And then we'll turn the other 2 into bandages. Just because, well, a couple of bandages. Just because it's nice to have a little bit of additional health renewal. So, I always make that my number 8 slot. And then we need to equip the glider so that it will actually work. And now we're going to run over to this ledge over here, hop off, and use the glider to get to the other side. You can read any of those as they pop up. Now these are little guide drones. A lot of times, sometimes they're there to guide you. Other times you need to get to them to have them unlock things. So these are important for getting through this stuff. They do have checkpoints that they expect you to go to before they'll move on to the next one because they don't want to accidentally leave you behind. So just keep that in mind. If you have a vague idea of where they're going and you try to run too far ahead, they're gonna get a little bit confused and they're gonna stop at whatever checkpoint they've been set up to wait for you at because they don't want you to get lost. Oops, come on. I would really like it if they made it so that attaching to a surface was a keybind rather than something that's automatic. This puzzle here can be a little bit confusing. You're expected to jump up onto the wall and then climb your way over. It took me a little bit to realize that's what they wanted me to do. Some of us are better at puzzles and figuring things out than others. I'm not. So there's that. All right. So we get here. We're able to pick up our first weapon. I'm going to go ahead and slot that into my number 3 because that's my pistol slot. I'll bring up these data pads, and you can pause and read them as always. And then you can pause and read that if you would like. You can pause and read that if you would like. And then I'm going to continue moving on because we have a lot to get done in this episode. Oh, okay. For some reason, I was not thinking. And I don't think there's any way for me to fix that other than going all the way back. So that was dumb. So now I got to climb all the way up, back over here. Fortunately, though, as I always forget, you can always just hop your way over. So let's do that. And then the physics will freak out on us. And then I need to get all the way over there. There we go. And then we hop up here. Now I know from having been through this that there's a turret right there. We're going to pick up everything. Come on. All right. That takes care of him. There's a crafting station up. Oh, we need to pick up some stone because we're going to need that for a recipe later. Let's see. That opens that door. Wait for the rocks to come down. We're going to go ahead and craft all of our metal into ammo just because we can easily burn through a lot of ammo with this gun. It's a pretty crappy gun, and I don't want to run out at the wrong moment, so that's what we're going to do. All right, there's a couple of turrets right here that we're going to have to deal with. Oh, wait. The further you... This game does have damage fall off after a certain distance. So it's usually a good idea to kind of get as close as you can to your targets. Even with the more powerful weapons, there's significant damage fall off the further that you go. So it's usually a good idea to just go ahead, get real close to your enemies as best you can. It's another reason I didn't mind spending all of that scrap metal on ammo, because I knew we were going to come over here and there's going to be a whole pile of it over here. So we're still going to continue grabbing berries, and we're going to be grabbing as much fiber as we can, because in a little bit, as those of you, I'm sure you guys have researched this game, it's a skyship game. You're supposed to build skyships, and these skyships use sails, at least at the beginning. So we're going to need a lot of cloth for that. So I'm just going to go ahead and take a moment now to go ahead and just grab as much of this food and the other stuff that we can, so that way we are able to not have to, you know, I like to grab things as I go when I know I need stuff, because I don't want to have to come back later and deal with it. So pretty soon, though, we're going to get a much faster method of moving around. I'm really looking forward to that. I also do need to craft a coral flare the next chance we get, so that I can use that to run around as a light. Always run around. I'm a big fan of the mushrooms. The mushrooms are, even at the end of the game, end of the early access period that I'm in right now, end of early access content that I'm in right now, I'm still pretty much just using mushrooms. Now, I cook them. There's a cooking station that you'll get, and we're going to be cooking all of our food once we get access to that. But you know, I pretty much just use the berries and the mushrooms for the most part, and then if I happen to have a third piece of food, so that, for those of you who don't know, you can see down in the bottom just under my health bar, there's 3 circles there. That is for the 3 different types of food that you can have active at any one point. Alright, you want to fight me? I got something for that. I got something for that. Alright, so that's a medium ammo. I'm going to go ahead and open up these. I'm going to pick up the stone there, because it always helps to have a little bit of stone. I don't really worry about those. I mean, I guess I should. I guess for the starting island, I should probably go ahead and grab that and consume it, because it is a third type of food. I usually have access to other things, and I don't pay much attention to them, but yeah, it's always nice to have a little bit more. Oh, what am I? Oh, there's a switch. That's right. So if you can't find your way through something, there's usually a switch. And then, like I said, these guys... Oh! I forgot that there was a hole here. We'll go back up for that in a minute. We're about to get access to our primary method of moving around the islands and stuff. So you'll see that here in a second. So let me hop up here, and we're going to grab our grappling hook. Awesome. You can pause and read that if you would like. And then... now that we have our grappling hook, we always need to make sure to equip it. Nothing auto-equips in this game. Developers, please auto-equip the initial items, because there's no reason for us to have to do that. Okay, so a little tutorial real quick for those of you who don't know. There's a couple of ways that you can use the grappling hook. You can grapple onto things and then obviously swing over to another place that you're trying to go. That's usually not the optimal way to go, because it just doesn't work very well. I mean, it works, but if you really want to get somewhere, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to reel yourself in as you're moving. Reeling in and reeling out doesn't use up any of your stamina, so you can just kind of reel in as you're going, and then yank yourself over, and you can get some pretty decent momentum doing it that way. That's really cool, and most of the time when you're doing like areas like this that have a lot of like ceilings and things like that, this is the primary way you're going to want to move around. However, when you're in a position where there's nothing high up to yank onto, and you have plenty of stamina to burn, you can just click onto something, hit the F key, which is the default key, to yank yourself over to the other side. And honestly, I end up moving around the maps pretty much a lot that way. So there's a door over there that has a shield, and we just press this switch to open that, and then you can yank, and then I can just like swing like that, and then slam into the wall. No matter how much you do this, oh, you know what? We were at a crafting station. I meant to craft the coral flares. If you run over to the left over here, there's some chests and some materials that we can pick up. At least at the very beginning, you want to pick up absolutely everything. But at some point, you want, especially once you get your skyship and all that stuff, you want to start like prioritizing. So this is what I mean about like using the grappling hook becomes your primary method of moving around maps. For these puzzles, you energize your grappling hook and then hold control or whatever your reel out key is to let it go, and then use your energized cable to light up both of those. You're gonna want to, especially once you unlock your skyship and everything, you're not gonna want to hoard that much, because there's just a lot. There's a lot of material that is given to you in this game. So, we need to get up here. Okay, and then, so the next place we need to go is up that way. So, what I end up doing a lot when I'm running around these islands is I'll just kind of grapple hook myself all over the place. If you get the timing down and you release as soon as you like kind of start getting momentum, you get into like a rhythm where you're able to like just kind of yank yourself around the island, and that's usually the fastest way and most consistent way to get around. Especially if you have some kind of stamina food helping you out. It's usually the fastest way to get around. You'll figure it out. It's not something there's no trick to it. You just got to learn the timing. What's it? Oh. Alright, that takes care of him. I want to get up there to get that power core. That is a useful tool, especially here. I mean, not really. Certain things require power cores. Most things are just kind of eh. Okay, and this guy's over here. All right. I believe there's a crafting bench here. Let's see. I would like to make a bunch of armor if I can, and I think we actually have enough. So, to make a full set of armor, I'm going to need 2, 5, 9... and, 9, 10, 11, 12? I need 12 cloth. We might as well just convert all of this into cloth anyway, because we don't have anything right now that uses plant fibers as a recipe. So we'll just go ahead and do that. And then I would like to make the chest plate, the breeches, the arm wraps, and the face mask. This is going to give us some armor, which will do some damage reduction, which is really nice. Again, remember, there is no auto-equip, so as soon as you take all of these, you have to actually go into your inventory and right-click all of them to get them to actually equip, because they don't equip all by themselves. So just keep that in mind as you're going through. Grab all of this. All right. So we need to go over to this doorway here. Now, you don't have to do this right now, but I'm going to go ahead. We need materials off of these mantas. I'm going to wait for this guy to get a little closer to me because we're not doing very much damage, and hopefully it fights me by itself. Oh, nope, they all want to fight me. This might have been a bad idea. Alright, well, unfortunately, the problem that we're going to have is that the only weapon that we're going to have for a while is this one. So, there's a material. Oh, it doesn't really do me any good to kill that anyway, because I don't have the tool I need to harvest that. I forgot. I'm spacing out here. Well, that was a complete waste of time, and unfortunately, I think the rest of them are still coming after me, so we need to hurry up and finish this part here. Come on. Oh, I thought I was going to dodge that, and I ended up not doing it right. Alright, well, this is not going well. Let's eat some berries, and hopefully I can get this figured out before I die. Oh, that ends up I screwed that up hard. My mistake was engaging things I didn't really need to engage anyway, but it is what it is. I think I accidentally hit that. Oh my god. Oh, I'm out of stamina. No wonder why. I'm sitting here, why am I not yanking the way I'm supposed to? Because I'm out of stamina. That'll do it. Alright, let's try to get back over there as quickly as we can, because I really screwed that up. We're gonna need some of these guys though, so let's go ahead and do this since we're here. The best way to grab these guys is to find a surface behind them and yank on, aim below them and then yank towards them, and you'll be able to pick them up. If you can use your hook to kind of just yank them out of the sky, but you get less Atlas dust that way, and you want to try to get as much as you can for as little resources as you want to use. So we'll just There we go. Just try to grab enough to make 5 or 6 shards. We need 15 to make 5, so we're at 9 right now. Let's do like this. That takes care of that. That's 9, that's 12. One more, and that's enough to make 5 Atlas shards. We don't need that many, but that's a full stack, so there's that. All right, so you need that for a material later. We'll talk about that when we're ready to actually start using it. Oh. Let's get our weapon reloaded before we head over there. We'll grab another piece of stone here. Oh, something else to keep in mind. Anything that's in your belt you hold on to. Anything that's in your backpack you lose when you die. So, did we have anything? There's no bag spawning, so I'm guessing we're fine. Let's do that. So there's also an optimal angle to this, and I always have to figure it out. Let's grab that. So this episode is going to take a little bit longer now because I screwed up. Let's see. Let's try to do that. Oop. And then sometimes the grapple just does not respond in the time that you think it should. Alright, so now that we screwed all that up, let's go try to get this. Let's go. Oh my god! Oh, I'm out of stamina again. Mushrooms help with that. Build faster, please. Oh, some chests here we missed. So since we lost all that, well, I guess we didn't lose anything. There's no bag for us to go back. When you die, there's a bag that'll show up. If you dropped anything on death, there's a little bag with a skull on it that shows up. So this right here, these are the kind of primary thing you're looking for. These give you data discs, which are what you use to unlock new recipes for different things. So you switch over to your prism, hold the right click until it finishes scanning, and that gives you a Saborian data disc. You can go ahead and read this data pad if you would like. But we need to head back, or actually, I guess we're going to follow. Oh, this guy right here is just going to lead us back over towards the beginning area. I will wait for him to start going over the gap, though, because, yeah, this is one of those things where he has a waypoint where he's supposed to wait for you so that you don't get lost. And then, yeah, we're just going to swing all the way over to the other side. Using the shift key to use the reel-in effect, which adds some momentum, which is really nice. It helps you kind of get across places faster. And we'll just do the same thing over and over again. Swing, swing like Tarzan. Okay, over here. Over here. And ideally, the little robot thing should come over here and kind of park himself over there. We're going to go ahead and go back to the Ark because I don't want to wait for that. We do need to go back into here, talk to the computer, and this will allow us to open up new recipes. So this first recipe, these first couple of recipes, these are the only options you have. So we're going to use the one disc that we have to open up the crude Atlas lifter, and then we're going to use that to actually make. We need a battery, so we're going to go ahead and make a battery that uses up a metal piece and a power core, so we'll go ahead and do that. And then we'll use the battery to make our Atlas lifter, and you'll see why we need that in just a second. So let's go ahead and craft that. Having the Atlas lifter with you 95% of the time is completely a waste of inventory, but every once in a while you come across something that you need to move that's very heavy, and you can't move it without the Atlas lifter. So my recommendation to you is decide. Do you want to carry it around and not have to go back to your ship for it? Or do you carry it around so that whenever you come across something like that, you don't have to worry about it? Me personally, I have found that it doesn't come up enough that I need to worry about it that much. So I generally don't hold on to it. That's my personal preference. Alright, so you go ahead, go inside. So the way this works is, oh, and I still forgot to craft a coral flare. The way that this works is you assign this to a hotbar. So we're going to go ahead and put it on that. You chuck it like a grenade. That lifts the item off the ground, and then you can use your grappling hook to kind of move it around. I like to hold it from the bottom, so that way I can move it far away from whatever it is. My goal is just to be able to hop up here and get it back. You can always pick it back up, but I don't want the rock to fall on me, so yeah, there's that. You can read this data pad if you would like to. All right, cool. And then, so the next thing we need to do is, there's these drone spawners here. You shoot the yellow part. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to kill that one before another one pops out, so that takes care of that. So these guys are relatively easy. Even the harder ones are fairly easy because when you shoot them, they get all knocked off. They get all knocked off kilter. All right, so there's another thing for us to scan in here. We're gonna scan that, and then once that's done, we can run outside because there is something that we need to witness. I would think. I'm slightly confused. Did I miss a step in the process? Or is it on a timer? Ah, here we go. And that, right there, is the major boss right now. Here he comes to make his epic appearance. Yeah, we gotta fight that. Oh yeah. So, there you go. That's the boss that we gotta fight. Alright. Let's finish out what we gotta do here. As I yank myself all over the place. We're gonna use this to unlock the shipyard computer. Now, to build a ship, as our end-the-game boss menacingly flies around. To build the shipyard, we need... Oh, there we go. You can pause and read that if you'd like. Pause and read that if you'd like. There you go. I think that's from back when we were doing something else. Sometimes I forget that there's conversations available. And, yeah, there's more conversations available. Doop, 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 doop. This is talking about this guy here. Oh, I think they were it's talking about the little... yeah. It's back when we were in the red area. You can pause that. And that's that. All right, can we get to the building part, please? Thank you. Shipyard. We need an atlas. To build that, we need the... What do we need? Do we not get access to... I'm confused because we're supposed to be able to build... We're supposed to be... Oh, wait. Oh, okay. So, we need to craft a pulse hammer and an energy saw. Okay, we have everything we need. We just need to make a couple of batteries. So, let's hop up here. We'll craft a couple of batteries. We'll craft the tools that we need to use. Okay, let's see. Energy saw and the pulse hammer. These will be your main These will be your main gathering tools for the rest of the game, at least as far as early access goes. Okay, we can equip these. I usually do 4 and 5. Okay. And then, are we able to, all right, we're able to build our furnace now, so I just need one more chunk of wood. And the reason why we need the furnace is because we need the furnace to forge Atlas shards. So I just need, oh, I have a tool here that will help me make wood. How about that? So the way this works is you chuck it and it comes back to you. There is a narrow window of being able to throw this very quickly again. So when it's blue like that, you'll be able to shoot and it'll give you a resource. It'll lock onto it and shoot it. And then when it comes back and it turns blue again, you can throw it and you'll be able to throw it immediately again. So I guess maybe I can come back here and kind of do it from afar. If you throw it,
and then it turns blue. You'll see the thing change, and you'll get a little blue arrow that comes in. If you throw it at just when it does that, you'll be able to throw it quickly again. That's the way that works. The closer you are, the faster you can do this. All right, that's that. So now we can build a furnace, which is going to allow us to craft a. You know what? While I'm the kind of person, I got to do things right when I'm thinking about them. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to go back in here to the crafting station, and I am going to craft a set of coral flares because I'm tired of walking around in the dark and not being able to see. At the early game, this is a very useful item to have because if you assign it to a hotbar. For now, we'll assign it to 2 since I don't have a rifle that I'm going to use. If you assign it to a hotbar, it'll hold it in your hand. That's not how that's supposed to work. That's not how that's supposed to work. That's a bug. That is a bug. That's not how that's supposed to work. It's supposed... Oh, because I'm stupid. I'm using the wrong one. There we go. All right, if you hold the flare in your hand, it will light up any of the areas that you go into, and you'll be able to see in the dark. So there's that. But the reason why we need the furnace is because we need to smelt all of our dust into Atlas shards. I thought I got 15. Did I miss one? Doesn't matter. 4 is fine. So we need the Atlas shards in addition to the... Oh, we need some more metal. That's fine. We'll go do some mining then, since we need metal. So the way mining works, you find these little these outcroppings here that have the little metal chunks in it. Select your pulse hammer, and you just blast off rocks. Be ready for some enemies that will pop up while you're doing this. So have the pistol ready. As a matter of fact, let's make sure that we're actually loaded. All right, I don't want to have to do a reload when they pop up. And then as you hit them, it will automatically collect the metal for you. Yep, see, there we go. All right, and then now that we have the energy saw, we can actually harvest materials from these guys. You always want to harvest materials because you need the fibrous sinew that they give you for a recipe later on. So just make sure you're always killing those guys when you see them because they don't always spawn, and finding them can be kind of difficult sometimes. So make sure you grab those. Fibrous sinew is important for making tension to cables, which will be important for some of the upgrades to your equipment later. So just be advised. All right, so we're going to finish grabbing this. And then we're just going to go ahead and go down into the cave here because, well, this is probably going to be enough for our initial little ship, but we'll see. Finish harvesting all of this. The gathering process can be pretty tedious. Fortunately, it's not like a lot of games where they require you to spend hours doing it. Usually you only have to spend 5-10 minutes doing stuff like this, which is really nice. Alright, so we'll finish grabbing all of the pieces off of this guy here. Alright, so I still would like to run around and grab some of the mushrooms. I don't necessarily want to stop and do all of those. Like I said, you can pull out your coral flare when you get into the darker areas, and it will show you, or it will give you a nice little light. I would say, did I just... Am I insane, or was that just a burning coral? That was weird. So yeah, I like to take a little bit of time at the beginning, especially in these caves where the mushrooms are pretty plentiful, and just grab as many as I can. Because once we cook these are going to be our primary source of stamina regen. At least for me, that's what I do. So I like to just kind of run around the cave and grab as many as I can. And that way, we have plenty of food available. And then you know you're on your way out of the cave when you find the little green light. So this green light here is like the exit. It points out. So if you find yourself getting turned around in here, find the green light and then follow the pathway out. Or nope, I'm sorry, I screwed that up. It doesn't point out, it's off to the right. Learn from my mistake, don't do that. That's the other thing.
If you hit this too many times, if you hit the actual core too many times, what ends up happening is it'll explode. And if you do it while you're in the middle of mining, it'll damage you if you're too close, and it'll destroy the rest of the ore. That's like the best case scenario if you do that. So just keep that in mind. Always try to grab these berries when you can. You know, assuming you don't have like crazy number of stacks of them. But always have berries available. I'm gonna go ahead and craft all of these into ingots because ingots take up much less space than the raw ore does. All right. So we're gonna go ahead and craft our Cyborian shipyard. Hold down the key while that does that. And now we have access to the shipyard. But before we do that, there's a few more things that we need to... There's a couple more places we need to go before we're done here. And I'd like to just go ahead and get those knocked out of the way because... A, it can't hurt to have a little bit more in the way of materials. And B, we're getting pretty long in this episode, and I don't want to go too much longer before we're done. So... let's go this way. I want to go out to the top area over there. You don't need a ship to get there. So we're just going to go ahead and do that. Oh, you know what? I forgot to cook my food. That's all right. We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. So there's 5 total data disks. There's 5 total data disks on this island. We found 2 of them so far. We just need to go up a couple. Oh, I'm out of stamina. So another thing you can do is if you just reel yourself in and hold a direction, it'll kind of fling you up like that, and that doesn't use stamina. So when you're going up like cliff walls and things like that, it's generally better to just kind of fling yourself. Let's see. Let's eat a mushroom, and we'll eat some berries, just so we can get some stamina regen back. If you're going up cliff walls and things like that, it's generally better to just go ahead and reel yourself up that way, rather than wasting the stamina. So what we'll do... I didn't mean to do that. That's fine. We can eat that. We'll eat one of those. What I typically do to get up here is I'll just fling myself up like that. And then you can reel yourself up and use your momentum to kind of fling yourself up. And there you go. All right, so there's a chest and stuff over there. That's not really anything we need to worry. There's a... no. I'm kind of in a hurry because I need to end this episode. We're already at 37 minutes. I thought I was going to get through this faster than I do, but it's fine. Come on. In general, it's better to be slow with your shooting because you'll waste less ammo. You do more damage and you'll waste less ammo by actually hitting, because there is weapon spread, but sometimes I get a little impatient. You can pause to read this if you would like. But we are heading to this direction over here. I don't remember if there's anything over here that we need. I don't think so. I think the next place we need to go is over here. So let's grab that. And then we have another turret that we have to kill. Crap. Oh, what the? I switched the wrong weapon. Damn it. So you can see the crosshairs spread out when you shoot. So if you keep shooting for no reason, that ends up being a problem. I don't remember if there's a turret in here, but we're going to be ready for it. I'm going to go ahead and get our light out. Yeah, that's this one. You don't necessarily have to move that. Just get this guy in there like that. Let your reel out. Head over to this guy over here. Boom. And then this one. Then that one. I think that there is a... I don't remember. There's that. We can get ourselves a 3rd Cyborian disc and a big chest, which gives us bunch of interesting stuff. I don't think there's anything else in here, so we can go ahead and head out. I don't remember. There's a place for a drone to go there, but I don't remember if that was actually a thing or not. So you can fling yourself up this way. It's a waste of stamina to do it that way, but sometimes I just don't care. So there is another place where you're going to do a crude atlas lifter there. So we'll go ahead and do that. Get that to lift up and start heading over this way. And then because I want it to go like that, I'll pull it from the bottom here. Oops, I screwed that up. And that does that. And then we'll go ahead and just drop down here. You will not take fall damage if you are able to yank to the ground. So that's a strategy to prevent fall damage. So this is going to be, what, 4 out of 5, I believe? And then we'll go ahead and hop out here. And the last one is over this way. There's a shipwreck over there that has some items in it. I'm not really going to worry about that right now because we need to hurry up and finish this area here. Let's grab that. I'll deal with those drones in a minute. We need to destroy this drone spawner because it's going to give us access to something else. So let's get right on top of it. Oh, crap. I thought that was going to work. It did not. Alright, that did that. Once you hit these, it's supposed to be kind of disabled. Alright, so killing that activated this... Oh, there's more. So the strategy for dealing with these guys is just to keep them kind of disabled. If you get swarmed like this, you can kind of keep them disabled. They will fall on the ground and do like that. Alright, I think that's all of them. Bandage ourselves up because I screwed that up hard. Alright, but anyways, now that we have all of that dealt with, we can grab some chests here, get some more items. And the reason why that was all important is that it enabled the laser here, and the laser here enables our ability to unlock that building over there. So we need to get this out of the way because we need to get that laser pointed at this one here, which means we need to use our Atlas lifter again. I'm going to try to put this on the middle and then pull it back this way. Come on. Come on. Come on. Sometimes this can be a little bit tedious, getting these rocks, getting these big bricks and stuff out of the way, but it's not too shabby. All right. So now that we've got that out of the way, we can grab these here. And then we can hop into that, turn it around, hit that. That allows us to move the beam off of this one, and then this beam needs to be pointed at that. All of these puzzles have it to where you need to get the beams to hit those to activate whatever it is that they're doing. So that's how that works. All right. And that gives us our last core here. Oh, there's a turret. There's another one. Yeah, he hit me. I always forget that there's another turret in here. Alright. We can pick up all our materials. You can read this if you would like. We'll go ahead and switch to our prism and hold right-click to scan that. And we'll remember to switch back to our weapons so that we don't forget later. Grab this last little power core here. And that does it for all of our power cores. So, in the next episode, we're going to go and build our skyship and move on to the next island. Let's see. In the next episode, we're going to build our skyship, move on to the next island. Probably going to have to do 2 episodes per island on a lot of these because they're just... Even this first island just took a lot longer than I thought it was going to. So that's going to go ahead and do it for today's episode. Hopefully you guys had lots of fun. Be sure to click the like button, subscribe to help us reach 10,000 subscribers. Join as a member for early access to videos, among other perks, or you can just leave YouTube's version of a tip with the thanks button. Also have PayPal and Patreon links for those of you who prefer to go that route. As you can see, invulnerability when you do that. Because some of you like to go outside of YouTube to help out with channels. So, like I said, in the next episode, we'll cover shipbuilding, and we'll take some time to build a ship. And then what'll probably end up happening is I will end up... we'll just take that time. We'll do a short episode of shipbuilding, just to kind of get that concept and everything done, because I'm probably going to have to do some material gathering anyway to finish building the ship when it's there. So thanks for watching. Be sure to come back for the next episode, and I'll see you then.